Hey guys, it's Lorenzo. So happy New Year to everyone. I wish you all the best in 2017. And I just want to give you a quick update on my shade house, which I have moved. But here's where it used to be. You can see I had some paving stones and other things, and there's some more of the shelving and some pots there that I just need to clean up. But I went ahead and moved my shade house over yonder. So let's go take a look at what we have done today. I have this really cool shed back here that I've debated converting into a greenhouse, and I don't know, it's really big. Maybe taking the roof off and putting plexiglass or some other material, maybe cutting some holes in the side. That's a project for another day, another year. But I've moved the shade house over here, and we put the plastic covering over this shade house, so it's a greenhouse. The bad thing about where it was before, over there on that side of the house, was that as we approached fall and winter, it got all shade. 100% of the day was shade. And as the temperature started to drop, I noticed that the plants weren't performing very well. They weren't drying off, they weren't getting enough sun, and so if I don't give the sun right now in the winter as well as in the summertime, the spring blooms may not come out on the orchids, or they might not develop spikes, and some of them are already starting to do that, so I want to make sure they get enough light. So I decided to move the shade house over here, and I figure that this area, it does get full sun in the summer, and in the winter, earlier today, it did get full sun in the morning, afternoon, and it's not till about right now at 4 o'clock that the sun starts to set in the west. But what's great is that even when summer comes, the sun sets this way. These trees will block the strongest part of the day here in Texas, and it gets 110 here in the summer, and at least it'll be filtered sun with the heaviest rays from 3 to 6 p.m. in the summertime. So I think this will be a really good fit for it. But as you can see, I'm testing things out tonight. So it was a really mild day today. The temperature was about 75. It says January 1st. It was about 75 degrees, and already in the greenhouse earlier today when we moved it and we put the cover on, it was already registering 110 inside. So it gives me a good indication of that I need to open the flaps and let the air flow through so it doesn't get that hot. So note to self on that. But we're expecting some cold fronts in the next week or so. Should get into the 30s, and so I'm interested to see how the shade house will perform temperature wise at that time. But I did buy a small space heater, which I'm going to run an extension cord from an outlet on the back of my sunroom. I'm going to run the extension cord down out here, put the little space heater inside, and put it on some concrete little pavers, so that way if it tips over or anything else, everything will be fine. It does have the tip prevention and overheating prevention. It's about a $30 little space heater, and so I figured that I can run this at nighttime when it gets cold enough. But let's take a look inside. As you can see, it zips up and down right here. One thing I also did was I had a stump removed right here, and it turned into mulch wood chippings. So I actually just put those on the ground in between the pavers, as you can see. So I put pavers here in the middle. I put some paver blocks here. There's some of the bracing goes across, so that way it gives it a little more weight, and back there as well. The temperature in here now, as we're getting filtered sun, is just under 80 degrees. So on a beautiful sunny winter day, I can expect 100 degrees or more here in the shade, in the sun, or greenhouse now I should say, if the flap is not open. But if I put the flap open, it should keep it here in the mid 80s maybe just at 90, which I think would be okay. But as you can see, I have shade cloth on the top, and I secured it with zip ties. I already had this when it was just a shade house over on the side of the house over there. It does really good. I think this shade cloth is 70% or so, I think so. But anyways, I secured everything, and I put some boards here in the shade house, because these little wire shelving that came with the greenhouse kit are obviously not very sturdy, so I just put some boards on each of the different shelves. And then I had another spare board, and I figured, well, I can make another shelf. I want to get one more and put it right here. I actually have a board in my garage. But it's ready to go. I didn't want to put the orchids out here just yet. It's supposed to get kind of stormy tonight. You can't really tell because it's a beautiful winter day. But it's supposed to get stormy tonight. And I'm still testing out the temperature variance in the shade house before I go that far. But as you can see, we secured the greenhouse top with the ties that it comes with. We tied them over here and over here, here and down there. But overall, not too bad. It's actually pretty sturdy for being PVC pipe. Well, actually, I think it's aluminum. But it has PVC brackets here. But overall, not too bad. I'm quite satisfied with this greenhouse kit. I got it at Big Lots for, I think, like 60 bucks, maybe $50. I don't even think it was that much. So I'm gonna keep an eye out when I go to Big Lots each year, and maybe just have another kit on reserve, so when this one starts to break down, I have another one already ready to go. But as you can see, this is pretty good. It's I think it's 8 feet by 12 feet tall, or 10 feet tall. I'm 6 feet, and so I still have another foot clearance, so it could be about 8 feet. Could be 7 by 8, but pretty good little greenhouse, and it's done really well. My orchids performed beautifully this summer and spring. So again, here's a look. You can see the flap, it rolls up and it secures up here with these little ties, but I can unzip this side and then roll it back up, and for the most part I think that would be fine. We have really mild winters here in South Texas, so even a nice sunny day that's still a little cool, maybe like 50, 60 degrees, I think in there the temperature would be probably about 60 or 70, maybe, just because it would retain a little bit more heat. This part of my yard does kind of turn into a little bit of a swamp when it rains, when we have a deluge of rain, but that's why I put the wood chips in there, and I thought that would raise up the elevation a little bit in there, so that way the water wouldn't pond in there. But if it does, I think that'll keep the humidity up and would be good. So I just wanted to give you a quick little update as we start the new year of what I'm trying to do to move my collection back outside. Right now all my orchids are inside my house or in my guest room on some of the baker's racks, but my guest room faces faces north, and so that doesn't get any sun. I get light from 2 windows in my guest room, and it does all right. I mean, I could weather my orchids inside through the coldest part of the winter, but the light becomes the issue, and I really wanted to make sure that they get adequate light, so come spring I'll have some spikes develop on some of my orchids. Either way, this is my project for today, was just to move the shade house from way over there to way over here in the back of my yard. I actually want to eventually add a greenhouse, but I don't know if I'm going to stay in this house. I don't know if this is my forever home, so until then I'm taking this opportunity to experiment with different types of setups, and this seems to be working really well so far. I put it together in the summer, survived summer storms, fall storms. We'll see how it does in the winter, and so far performing pretty well. I think if you maintain and you really brace this type of structure together, I think you can get some really good use out of it. As you can see, it's a really cool addition to my collection to be able to house everything And if you fix it up and kind of doctor things up, you know, put some mulch and some of those concrete pavers, you can give it more stability. So anyway, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you have any suggestions for future videos, leave a comment in the section below. But until next time, have a happy new year. I wish you all the best in 2017. And until next time, happy growing.